Anthony Joshua's gigantic.
So big.
He's so big. He's so much bigger. Bro, he got hit with a bomb and breaks his jaw in 2 places. Don't do this very long, because there's a price that you pay that is not worth it. It's not worth it.
Jake Paul knocked out. His career is over.
All it takes is one punch to completely ruin your life.
Jake Paul just retired in the only way boxing ever forces honesty, by taking damage that ends the conversation for you. December 19th, 2025, Kaseya Center, Miami, live on Netflix, marketed as real heavyweight boxing with real rules and real consequences. And that mattered because once Anthony Joshua dropped him repeatedly and broke his jaw in 2 places, retirement stopped being speculation and became the logical outcome.
Ultimately, the big win for him would be that he was even willing to do it, and that he could do well for a little bit. Yeah, and then eventually just deal with the fact that Anthony Joshua is going to connect with a bomb and breaks his jaw.
Anthony Joshua knocked him down 4 times, twice in the 5th round, twice again in the 6th. That matters because this was not a flash knockdown or a lucky shot. This was repeated failure under pressure. This was a fighter being broken down in stages until the referee had no choice but to end it. Retirement stops being a joke when you cannot protect yourself anymore.
Style that would align with a ring that size, a negative style as we mentioned. It really comes down to the fan interest. Jake Paul is on a 2-fight stretch coming into this one, which really put his reputation on the line.
Then came the injury that changed the conversation permanently. A confirmed double broken jaw, fractured on both sides. Immediate transport to the hospital. No post-fight press conference because he physically could not speak. Surgery followed. Liquid diet followed. Wires followed. At that point, retirement is not about emotion or pride. It becomes medical.
So he's 28 years old, 29 next month. Don't do this very long, because there's a price that you pay that is not worth it. It's not worth it. And that price is depression, deep depression, a severe brain imbalance that's going to lead you to addiction.
Before the fight, he sold invincibility. After the fight, he was counting recovery weeks and swallowing meals through a straw. You cannot talk your way out of structural damage. You cannot market your way out of bone failure. This is where retirement stops being hypothetical.
300 million plus in his boxing career. How old is Jake Paul?
29 and
look at that. So he's 28 years old, 29 next month.
When a fighter leaves the ring unable to speak, unable to eat, and unable to deny the damage, the sport makes the decision for him. The conversation changed that night because the body answered the question louder than any promoter ever could.
It leads so many people to impulsive behavior. So many people become gambling addicts, drug addicts, alcoholics after their fighting career. It's you could only take so much.
The boxing world did not hesitate. Former champions and analysts went straight for the truth. They called it a mismatch. They called him exposed. Some said his career was done. The tone was not emotional. It was corrective, like the sport finally clearing its throat after years of forced politeness.
It's my year. Just everything that's happened in my life. Like, I was taking L's after L, and I just mean that in that sense. I don't mean it just by like success.
Duke McKenzie laid it out cleanly. Jake lunged with his punches. His balance collapsed under pressure. He stumbled over his own feet. He reached upward and missed because he was too short to reach Joshua cleanly. Every technical flaw that had been masked against smaller or compromised opponents was dragged into daylight at once.
Jake Paul tried to throw a shot. He would lunge in, jump in, and because he was so short, he'd miss. And then he ended up stumbling over his feet and falling over. Sometimes in that fight, it reminded me of, have you seen that Kung Fu film called The Drunken Master?
Michael Bisping focused on restraint. Joshua did not need to be reckless. He did not need to chase. He let power and patience do the work. Jake never once worried him. No wobble, no panic, no moment where Joshua had to change plans. The difference in class stayed obvious from the opening bell to the stoppage.
You know, when you're young, you think that you can live forever and you think that you're invincible until something happens. We also happened to Muhammad Ali. So there's a deeper story here, is that life's a marathon, not a sprint. So whether it's fighting, whether it's your lifestyle, whether it's money, you're going to be 30, you're going to be 40, you're going to be 50, and PBD, you snap your fingers, boom. Just like that, you're going to be 60.
Analysts leaned on numbers because numbers do not care about hype. Joshua landed 48 punches, Jake landed 16. That is not competitiveness, that is survival math. Joshua never had to overextend. He never had to gamble. He waited, adjusted, and the collapse came right on schedule.
And at a certain, like that one that he got from Joshua, ooh, you know, say if you have like a punch card, you have like so many punches that you can get in your life, which I believe you do. I believe there's a certain number. That one was like 10 punches.
Yeah.
That was like.
The framing changed instantly. This was no longer about boxing ability. It became a simple question of how long Jake could survive before the body gave out. The conversation stopped being about wins and losses and shifted to whether he ever belonged in that ring to begin with.
He weighed 216, but he's doesn't even have abs, right? At 216, he could easily weigh 190.
Yeah.
I'm sure he could make 190.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua's gigantic.
So big.
He's so big. He's so much bigger. So of course, like,
The game plan told the truth before the knockout ever landed. Oversized 22-foot ring, constant backward movement, north to south running instead of lateral footwork. This was not ring control. This was evacuation with gloves on. Clinching became the default reaction. Wrestling tactics in a boxing ring. Leaning, grabbing, collapsing into the referee. Analysts did not call it clever. They called it desperation. You clinch when you are outmatched and buying seconds, not when you are executing a confident strategy.
if he wasn't a YouTuber, people would be way more impressed with him.
Yeah.
The problem is he was like a famous kid, and then no one took him seriously.
Yeah.
There was no attempt to win rounds, no sustained combinations, no pressure sequences. Everything pointed to one objective only: avoid damage, stretch the fight, make it look respectable. The optics were brutal, a heavyweight bout reduced to evasive survival theater. Commentators openly mocked what they were watching because it was impossible not to. This was a man running for credibility, not victory. The consensus hardened quickly and stayed there. This approach confirmed what everyone suspected. Jake knew he could not win. He was there to endure, collect the check, and escape. And eventually, even that failed.
Did you say wow after he hit you in the jaw? There's a clip of you on the ground after he hit you. You said wow.
Can someone start posting content?
Joe Rogan said what everyone was tiptoeing around, and he did not dress it up. He called it a brutal reality check and told Jake Paul to retire. Not someday. Not after one more payday. Now. Rogan was not reacting as a hater or a keyboard analyst. He was reacting as someone who has watched fighters pay for damage decades later.
They put your teeth back in when they pop out like that, or are they gone forever?
I don't know. But this shit's wired shut for like 6 weeks now.
Yeah, you gotta eat nothing but protein shakes.
He talked about cumulative brain trauma like it was a ticking clock, because it is. Every concussion adds up. Every heavy shot subtracts something you never get back. That punch from Anthony Joshua was not just one mark on a scorecard. Rogan described it as the equivalent of multiple concussions in one moment, a single hit that eats through years of tolerance.
Is that 96 million or whatever worth you having brain damage for the rest of your life? And this is the thing, that this is, to me, besides the Tyson Fury's brother, you're going up against a real fighter. This guy, if that boxer punches you in the face in the street, that's assault with a deadly weapon. He's a trained...
The jaw fracture became the symbol everyone needed to stop pretending. Doctors and analysts made it clear this was not just a facial injury. When your jaw breaks on both sides, the force does not politely stop at the bone. It transfers inward. Head trauma does not announce itself with a headline. It shows up later as memory loss, emotional instability, depression, impulse control problems. Rogan talked openly about fighters sliding into addiction after careers full of hits just like that. Gambling, drugs, alcohol. He said no amount of money is worth that bill.
In his lower jaw.
Oh, you can show. Look,
Here, look. Science. So science is right there and there.
Psychologists and body language experts went even further, and it was uncomfortable to watch. They broke down Jake's final moments in the ring, the eyes, the posture, the hesitation. They described fear, exhaustion, and helplessness, not hype fear, real threat detection. The kind where the body knows it is outmatched before the mind catches up. They talked about how cornered he looked, how his movement stopped being tactical and started being instinctual. That was not strategy anymore. That was survival panic.
But whatever it is, it's not
enough.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
Because in so many of his fights, like the Nate Diaz fight, he gets tired in the later rounds. In the beginning, look,
And through all of it, the same point kept coming back. Money does not undo brain damage. A wired jaw does not protect your memory. A big check does not rebuild neurons. Rogan said the quiet part out loud. This is how careers end badly when people refuse to listen to reality. While experts were talking health, the internet went feral. The tone flipped fast. Disbelief turned into celebration. Relief turned into ridicule. Memes flooded timelines. Clips replayed endlessly. People were not just reacting to a loss, they were reacting to years of marketing finally colliding with physics.
Like, that's a killer. This is a weapon. So is it worth the money? I don't think any money is worth that. The brain, like we talked about this when I first came to VT.
Jake Paul the boxer faded. Jake Paul the promoter took center stage. Salesman, showman, viral engine. Analysts said he sells spectacle better than skill. That might have been survivable if he accepted it. What made it unbearable was pretending the spectacle was victory. The puncher's chance argument got shredded publicly. Analysts called it fantasy. You do not puncher's chance an Olympic heavyweight champion who knows exactly what is coming. That logic works in bars and backyard myths, not in professional rings. Facing someone like Anthony Joshua, size, timing, and experience erase fairy tales fast.
Less than a decade, he has had no real professional opponents other than Tommy Fury that were legitimate world-class boxers.
As retirement talk spread, Jake's own messaging made it worse. One minute he joked about fighting again in days. The next minute he was updating fans from surgery. Liquid diet, stiffness, pain, wired jaw. The contradiction was glaring. You cannot sell invincibility while counting recovery weeks. Analysts started predicting what everyone already understood. This is not a short break. This is a long pause at best and a quiet retirement at worst. The injury alone demands time. The lack of viable opponents demands more. There is no clean path back to credibility after a loss like this, combined with that level of damage. Behind the scenes, the conversation turns colder. Sponsors look at risk. Platforms look at liability. Broadcasters look at medical charts instead of pay-per-view projections. The fun stops when the product starts looking fragile and unpredictable in the wrong way.